And hello fellow tankers, Space Bandit here with another episode of World of Tanks. And yes, we finally got there, guys. We got our T110E3 in full effect. And my first impressions about this tank, I do like it. I like it a lot. This tank is an armored monster. Frontally, it's extremely hard to pen, especially if you put yourself in the right position with this tank. You can bounce a lot of shells. That cupola on top of it, even though you think it's a weak spot, it really isn't, and we'll cover that later. One big thing that really bothers me about this tank is the mobility. This tank is not very fast. It gets up to maybe 24-25 kilometers per hour, so please keep that in mind, especially when you're traveling up the hill or the ridge. This tank will slow down significantly, so what I would strongly recommend is off-road driving for this vehicle. Clutch braking is very important for your cruise skills as well, because you want to improve the rotation speed of this tank, as well as you need to ensure that you have repair skill and track mechanic skill on your crew. Again, very crucial skills for a tank like this, because if you get tracked, you're much easier target to penetrate. So your crew needs to be good when it comes to that. Anyway, we'll cover that a little bit later. Now let's take a look at this tank's stats and what's in that package. So as you can see, standard shell penetration is 295 millimeters, very good, with premium shell penetration of 375 millimeters. Premium shell is the APCR round, which is absolutely fantastic. I love APCR rounds, guys. It's a matter of preference though, but 375, oh my gosh, it's extremely good. Aim time of 2.5 seconds, which is not that bad for a humongous gun like this tank has. A gun with 850 alpha. That is a very good aim time for that alpha. Accuracy at .36 again is a tick better when compared to other American guns, which usually are about .38, especially heavy tank guns and tank destroyer guns. So .36 is actually not as bad. View range of 390 meters, bit disappointing. I would hope we could see 400 meters here, but if you have recon, situational awareness and camo skills, you won't feel a difference with this tank. Now, having said that, let's take a look at my loadout. As you can see, I'm carrying 18 AP rounds, 5 APCR rounds and 4 HE rounds. Only 5 APCR rounds because with 275 millimeters of penetration with standard AP, I think they're good enough. Now, one thing to point out, shell velocity of AP is not as great when compared to APCR, so shooting at long distances, you have to make sure you lead your shots properly with AP rounds. From that perspective, probably APCR is better, although penetration of APCR drops off over distance, which AP doesn't, so it's a matter of preference. HE rounds are great because if you face softer vehicles like German Tier 9 Waffles, Tier 8, Tier 9 or Tier 10, you can just load your HE round and roll for over 1100, which is absolutely fantastic. As far as my equipment goes, as you can see, I'm carrying gun rammer, gun laying drive and vents. Vert stubs are not available for this tank because there's no turret, so that's why I'm going with gun laying drive. Vents are helping a little bit with the reload and everything else for that matter. As far as consumables go, I'm carrying a large repair kit, and now that's very important. If you guys carry a large repair kit, it will help you with the speed that your crew repair your tracks or repairs anything else for that matter. So if you have, let's say, repair skill and track mechanic skill with large repair kit, you will repair your tracks much faster than if you didn't have a large repair kit. So it serves like an extra boost to your crew. If you don't use it, it will always be there, and if you need to use it, it is there for you to use. So on this tank, I strongly recommend large repair kit. First aid kit, I just carry a standard one, and automatic fire extinguisher, a must in all tanks that fire chance is larger than 15 or 20%, so I carry that on this tank as well. As far as my crew skills are concerned, I currently have 10 skills/perks on this crew, which include off-road driving, repairs, recon, brothers in arms, sixth sense, clutch braking, track mechanic, snapshot, situational awareness, mentor, and currently training camo. So as I mentioned to you guys before, clutch braking, off-road driving, and all the repair skills like repairs and track mechanic come in handy with tank destroyers that don't have turrets. So you should consider those for all of your non-turreted tank destroyers. If you're running them, those are the skills that you should probably need in your crew. Anyway, now let's take a look at the armor values of this tank. Now, this tank is a driving fortress. It is absolutely crazy difficult to penetrate, especially if you're at a far distance from your opposition and they need to hit your weak spots. Good luck with that. So just looking at the armor profile, your top plate, your gun manlet, which is absolutely huge, and your cheeks are extremely hard to penetrate, almost automatic bounces, so you shouldn't be aiming there at all, guys. I mean, even the cheeks, if you look at the armor there, you would need gun with penetration of over 377 or 380 millimeters of penetration. Cupola is also pretty strong. You would need a gun with penetration of over 330 in order to penetrate that. So what I found in majority of cases, players penetrating me in the bottom plate. That is probably the most viable thing and most viable solution, is to penetrate the bottom plate. Center of the bottom plate can be penned with any gun over 245 millimeter of penetration, somewhere around 240 anyway. If you try to shoot this underbelly right in the center, I think that's probably the best thing to do. Now, if you're facing this tank from the front but from above, then you can easily penetrate the top superstructure of this tank. It has only 38 millimeters of armor, but sloped, looking from the top, you would probably need a gun with penetration value of about over 80 millimeters in order to pen it. So that's a viable option. If you go around to the side of this tank, the sides are about 160 millimeters, so anything over 160 should be able to pen them, and the engine is only about 76 millimeters, so you can easily penetrate the engine of this tank. So when playing this tank, play it frontally. Keep your distance. Don't let light tanks go around you. Don't let medium tanks go around you, or heavy tanks. If they do, you're dead. If they don't, you're gonna be a tough nut to crack, I tell you that much. And that's what I found out playing this tank. Anyway, enough about the tank. Let's skip to the gameplay, and today I have a really good game for you guys. And who says that this tank cannot perform on big maps? Well, it can, as long as artillery leaves you alone. And that's what happened in this game. So we're on map Westfield, rain. We were drawn on the southwest spawn of this map, which is probably not the better side of the map, but it doesn't really matter. The most important area of the map is C3A1 quadrant. That area there is the most important. Whoever usually wins that quadrant wins the game. So in this game, I'm going to show you a very vital location if you are to defend the base. But before we get there, let's try to get to area C2 and C3. And as you can see, it's going to be a long ride, climbing up the hill at 13, 14 kilometers an hour, even slower now. So getting to position with this tank is going to be a problem, as it's going to be with the entire line. Honestly, starting at tier 8 and tier 9, you're gonna have the same issues. So you always be trailing, but in reality, guys, it's not a bad thing, because with the tank destroyer per se, you should keep distance from the front line, but obviously on open maps, not in corridors, so that, you know, medium tanks, light tanks don't go around you. You don't get yourself in a situation where you can get flanked. So it's good to keep a little bit of distance. So I was thinking here, just keep climbing one line. Once I get myself in a position E1, D1, maybe D1, somewhere around there, I could have shots at any of these guys poking from behind the ridge at C3 or B3, somewhere around there. But all of a sudden, we have one of our tanks, I think it's one of our heavy tanks, that went really deep. And he hasn't really spotted much. So at this point in time, I figured, okay, you know what? Looks like the opposing team didn't even make it to this area of the map, which is quite interesting. It doesn't happen often. Usually there's a big brawl in that area. But every once in a while, if the team is smart and if they decide to stick together, especially if none of them went up there. I thought to myself, it's going to be a close fight, and that's what it's going to end up to be. And even though they didn't take the prominent positions on this map, they were able to withstand our pressure, and you know, they made it interesting at the end of the game. Anyway, the most important position on this map, if you're defending, is the area where I'm at now. There's a little dip here, so you can hide behind the ridge, and you can have shots across the map from this location here. So here I'm looking at E100. He's smart enough to go in the middle. He's providing vital spots to his team that's currently sitting somewhere in J9, somewhere around there. So we're gonna line up a shot at him. The shot is available, but unfortunately we were not able to pen him. We do track him, so we're gonna get some assisted damage. At the same time, I need to keep on moving with this tank, because now I'm kind of in a crossfire. So the guys that are currently sitting at K8, K9 are able to put side shots into me if I pay my attention to this E100. So I'm unspotted now. I go unspotted. We're gonna try to line up a shot at him again, but he doesn't give me a good angle, so I end up not shooting and holding this shell in my chamber. So he's disappearing behind a building or something there, so I'm gonna switch my attention to these guys that are sitting on the ridge over here. I'm gonna try to put a shell into this button. That shot just barely missed. You could see it just going right over his hull. Now I think I've made a little bit of a mistake with this tank here. I'm underestimating the penetration values of this gun. I should probably be able to go through turret of T54, as well as bottom side of the turret of M48. Like here I'm going for a hole shot, which is quite narrow, and that shell dips. What I should have probably done was try to hit him in a turret. I would have probably penetrated him through the turret there, because he was kind of aiming a little bit to the right. But regardless, we're gonna keep paying attention to these guys that are on the ridge. Now, the most important guy right now on our team is that medium tank at K6. It's a tier 10 Progetto. He is so important because he's actually spotting these guys that are sitting on top of the ridge at K8, K9. So he's important. I gotta keep him alive, and that's the main thing I'm gonna try to do. Now, from this distance that we are at here, like I mentioned to you guys earlier, this tank is so hard to penetrate because it's really hard to hit weak spots. So this button is actually making a really good play, because he didn't expect anyone poking over the ridge and hitting him. And his goal, his main goal, is to take out our Progetto, our spotter, right? So he's making the right play. But I'm not scared because I'm an E3. So I'm actually one of the only tanks that can poke over this ridge and pretty much be unpunished. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use my tank to my strengths. At the same time, I'm bouncing shitloads of shells. Artie misses me at the same time, which was kind of good. Button hides behind the hill right now, so I can't get any shots at him. He got a little bit smarter, so he's there. But Progetto has clear shots at him, and Progetto takes him out of the game. And I conserve my teammate. My teammate's still alive and kicking. So now he's spotting this object 277. I'm gonna line up a shot at him. Boom, we put a big shell into him. 950 solid alpha. And we're gonna continue doing the same thing. Now at this point in time, I noticed object is pretty much a one-shot for our Progetto. So I'm like, okay, you know what, Progetto's got him. I don't have to worry about him. I see this Super Conqueror. I'm like, we gotta chew this guy down a little bit. So we put a huge shell into him and we set him on fire. But unfortunately, he's carrying a fire extinguisher, so he extinguishes the fire. Now, I don't know what our Progetto was doing. I don't understand how he got killed over there. The Object 277 was only a one-shot to him, so I don't understand really what happened, how he got himself killed. But all of a sudden, we don't have a spotter. So I tried to put a shell into Super Conqueror there, but even from this angle, there's no way I'm being able to penetrate his top plate from even a little bit of an incline. So at this point in time, I'm like, okay, we're in trouble. Now we don't have any control of the map. We're all sitting in the middle. We don't have any spotters on the other side. So someone's gotta move, right? I have heavy armor. I have full HP. I am full HP. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make that move. I'm gonna go there and look at the communication from my guys, from players on my team. That's the important thing. I know they're listening. I told them to cover me, and both of them respond. The artillery responds, and our waffle, tier 10 waffle, also responds. Now that's key, because I know that these guys have my back. Now I see this machine coming down, I'm like, oh shit, I'm in trouble. Will I be able to hit him? That's the main thing I'm thinking. I line up a shot, and boom, we take him out of the game. We roll really, really high, actually, over 1,000. And I'm not sure, we might have actually ammo-racked him here. Anyway, there's still fire incoming from the hill. It looks like I got penned over here. I'm not sure what it was, but it looked like an HE shell. Could have been arty, I don't know. Regardless, we're going to keep pushing here and facing our frontal armor towards that ridge or hill on the right-hand side. So these guys are going to have trouble. First of all, they're going to have trouble penetrating me. Second, they're going to have to overexpose in order to hit me. And that exposes them to fire from my tank destroyer, from my tier 10 waffle, and other tanks that are sitting in the middle. Now, our numbers are dwindling at this point in time. And last play I would recommend is what that heavy tank has done at C9. Don't ever go down into that ravine. If you go down there, you're gonna die, because there are always snipers on zero line, and there is no way you can survive. So yeah, I would not recommend doing that at all. And even if you do manage to get there, those guys can easily slide down the hill and take you out of the game. So I wouldn't do that. Anyway, I need to climb up this hill in order to get some spots. We spot the Super Conqueror over here, and we have our premium loaded because we gotta start taking tanks out of the game. So we're gonna aim a shot at his turret right below his gun. That is where the weak spot is on both Conqueror and Super Conqueror, guys. If you didn't know, you can pen those spots with higher penetration guns. So I was easily able to put the shell right through his manlet right there, or below his manlet, and we take him out of the game. Now we're gonna continue pushing. At this point in time, I forgot to switch my shells, so don't judge me on that, because I will be shooting the artillery pretty soon with APCR round that has 275 millimeters of penetration. 375 or something, right? Was it 300? Anyway, so I put a shell into the arty. The good thing here was that I didn't have to lead that shot much, so we do take him out of the game just like that. Now we're gonna switch to our AP round, and we're gonna continue moving further, see what we can spot over here. The game is really close. It's tied right now, 4v4. We still have arty, so we do have advantage in this game, I think. Unfortunately, I get hit here by T-54. That guy played it smart. He actually moved to the other side of the field and puts a shell into me, but at the same time he gets taken out by our artillery. Arty, I gotta give him credit, man. He supported me the whole game here, and without him this would be extremely difficult. But we're gonna continue going forward. We have a good position now, and the only thing I'm afraid of, enemy has tier 10 waffle on their team, and I didn't know at this point in time. I knew he was down somewhere at B8 because he was resetting the base, but I didn't know whether he has shots at me here from under the bridge. So I was really worried about that. So I'm kind of sitting in that dip here and kind of just spotting at this point in time. I'm actually happy if my arty only hits these guys and I don't do any damage at all, because like I said, I don't know where tier 10 waffle is. Now he shows up at C5, so now I know that he's over there, but now I have to show my friendlies to pay attention to him, because he's flanking us, and if he takes out all of these guys that I have currently shooting and paying attention to the ridge on my side, then I'm not gonna have any cover. So the key thing here now is to wait. I'm not gonna move. I'm gonna wait and see what my friendlies do. And it looks like they both started paying attention to tier 10 waffle, and they turned around. Both of them, I see them moving in that direction. So I'm gonna take that advantage, and I'm gonna move up a little bit here. I'm gonna try to push these guys because E3 is not paying attention at me as well. He's kind of switching attention to our medium tank. So I'm gonna push a little bit harder over here. At the same time, looks like this guy, the ISM, he was thinking about going around me, I think, but he changed his mind. Oh, he overexposed himself huge, and I already, you know, takes him out of the game quite easy. Now I see this E3 coming up. One thing I want to do is track him. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't want him to kind of go around and hit me, so we track him and we pen him at the same time. He's gonna shoot at us, but I don't know what he did. I think he was shooting in our cheek and he bounced. So here, yeah, I don't know what the hell happened there. My controller kind of skipped. I wanted to aim in the bottom plate, and because my controller skipped, he kind of backed off. So I should have probably went straight in and taken him out. I can take a hit from this guy, so it's not a problem. I should have done right away. But here we're gonna wiggle, we're gonna bait the shot from him. I don't care if he pens me at this point in time, because I have this game in hand. And we're gonna shoot him down. Put a shell in the bottom plate, and we secure the win for the team. It was quite fantastic game, even though, you know, with a slow tank like that, I managed to make a few kilometers here and there. So what we did is we defended our base, because basically there was no fight north. So we dropped back to the ridge where we can defend from, shooting tanks on the other side of the map. We're trying to protect our Progetto. Once our Progetto died, we decided to be the spotter, and we went up and started spotting all these guys on the other side of the ridge. We paid attention, and we had good awareness of the map as to what was going on, which allowed us to make good decisions in this game. Anyway, we got a bunch of medals for this game, absolutely huge amount of medals. We finished with 6.5k damage, 2.1k assisted damage, which brings the totals to about 8.5k combined. We also had about 5800 blocked, and like I said, if this tank is far away and people cannot aim at your weak spots, you're gonna bounce a lot of shells. So yeah, we ended up with really fantastic game. Really fantastic game for this tank. I do really like this tank, guys. I do recommend it, even though it's slow. If you like tank destroyers, you're gonna love this one. We finished with 1523 base XP. We had 4 kills. We finished with 9 medals. We fired 14 shells. We had 12 direct hits and 9 penetrations. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this run. It is the first time I've done something like that on this channel, so let me know if this is something you enjoyed, and if so, maybe I can do this for some other tech tree tanks or tank lines that you would like me to do. I might actually consider that. I still have few that are kind of not researched, so I'm sure I can get another tank line started. Actually, I was thinking about going to FV 4005, starting from tier 7, so maybe that's what I'll do next, not sure. Also, what I'll do is I'll post some other gameplay from both T95 and T110E3. You guys requested some more gameplay of T95, so I'm going to show it. They're not going to be as good games as I shown before, but they're still going to be pretty decent. Anyway, that's it for today. Don't forget to go and check out CloneGuy72 and Got a Dinghy. Links to their channels in the description section below. That's it for now. Until next time, happy tanking, Space Bandit, checking out.